The energy's slower, but I'm still just energy.
Okay.
Not a person.
You're not a person, but just energy?
Yes.
Very good. What do you become aware of in this place?
There's other energy around me.
Does it have a shape?
No. It's just feels like it feels like a lot of energy just all going together. Parallel though, not mixing up.
Okay. So it doesn't mix, so you are your own energy being.
And everything's moving quickly, but in order.
But in order. How many other energy beings do you see there, or do you feel there?
Oh, many, many. 1,000, maybe more.
Can you communicate with these other beings through your mind, telepathically?
I think so. It doesn't feel like I have a mind per se.
Okay.
It just feels like we all know. We all know things, but we're not really interacting, but it's hard.
So, what kind of things do you know? Is it possible to ask questions?
I think so, yes.
So, where are you going? What kind of answer do you get from that?
We go where we're supposed to go, where we're asked to go. We have assignments.
Where are you supposed to go?
I think I am where I'm supposed to go.
Okay.
I feel like I'm there right now.
Okay. What do you experience there?
I'm waiting for someone to ask me for help.
So if someone asks you for help, what kind of help do you give them?
Guidance.
Guidance? So if someone asks you for guidance, how do you give them the guidance?
Well, however they can receive it. Some people just want signs. Some people ask questions, and then they can have inspiration or input from me and my friends.
What type of people do you like to help? Do you help people only?
I only help people. I have assignments. They're people that I'm assigned to help.
Who are you assigned to help? What are they like?
Well, they're just regular people that I've had to work with their whole lives. A lot of them don't ask for help, though.
So how should they ask for help? What's the best way?
They can just say, I need help. Will you help me?
And then you quickly help them?
I do, and then I show up to see what it is that they need.
So say someone says, I need help because I don't want to get sick. Can you help them right away?
Sure.
And what type of help would you give somebody that says, I don't want to get sick?
I would remind them that they don't need to ever be sick.
And how do you remind them?
Well, by telling them, by reminding them and reassuring them that they're supposed to be healthy all the time. And when they're sick, it's just that they've forgotten that.
So they've just forgotten that when they're sick.
Yeah, they've just forgotten that health is their birthright.
So health is their birthright. They just need to remember that?
They need to remember that.
And by remembering that health is their birthright, they won't get sick?
Yes. They have ownership of themselves. So if they're getting sick, it's because they think that they should be sick.
So it's only because they think they should be sick.
Right.
But they really have ownership over themselves.
Correct. They have sovereignty.
So if they don't want to get sick, they have to just take ownership over themselves?
Right. And say, I don't want to be sick. There's no need for me to be ill. That's not a part of the human experience.
So there's really no need, and once they take ownership and say they don't want to be sick, they won't be sick. But I've seen many people that were sick that have said those things.
Well, they may be saying those things, but they're not feeling those things. They feel as though they're victims. They're falling victim to something that is inevitable.
So they need to get out of the victim mode?
Right.
And realize that they have control?
They do have complete control.
Well, I didn't want to get sick before, and I got sick, even though I really didn't want to get sick.
But somewhere inside of you, you needed to be sick to maybe have someone take care of you, or maybe it was a warning for you to take care of yourself better.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and that you need to show up for yourself.
Well, Jasmine doesn't want to get sick right now. What should she do?
She should just remember that she doesn't need to be sick.
So just by remembering that, is that good enough?
I think it is good enough. Needing to be sick is different than wanting to be sick.
Okay.
I don't think that people consciously want to be sick, but sometimes we have a need for it, and it's a subconscious thought. And I think that it's a way of putting our power in someone else's hands or in something else's hands and playing small.
Okay.
So you have to remember that you are a divine creature and that you don't have to be sick. It's your birthright to be healthy.
Well, what if someone has cancer, say, and it's stage 4? What should they do?
They should remember who they are.
And who are they really? A divine creature, you said?
Yes, they are part of Source.
So are they really God?
Of course they are really God.
So say somebody has stage 4 cancer and they need to remember that they're really God and then believe that they don't need to be sick. Is that enough?
It can be enough. I think there's some deconditioning that has to happen, though, in that specific story, because for them to be in stage 4 cancer, for them to have gone through all of that for as long as they've gone through it, like there's something that got them to that point. So there has to be an unraveling of that.
Well, are illnesses sometimes because consciousness is not awake?
Yes.
Can you describe that?
That's the remembering.
Okay.
People believe that they're separate from God, not that they are God. So when you think that you're separate, you think that you can't be in charge of your health, that there's something out there that is in charge, instead of it being something inside of you that can make you better. So you have to wake up. And I'm not under the illusion that waking up is as easy as it is simple. It's not. It's very complicated for some people because of their conditioning.
What's the best way to get rid of this conditioning?
That's not an easy answer. I think to do your work. I think the idea is that you have to do your work that you're here to do before you get stage 4 cancer.
Right.
You know, because that is almost the symptom of everything that has transpired in this lifetime.
Right.
And all of the pushing down and all of the suppression.
Right.
And the disconnection.
It's the disconnection.
Right. So I think you have to start by loving yourself and accepting yourself.
Just love who you are.
Love who you are, but also the remembering of your divinity. The remembering that you are just part of every single thing that's happening. And if you are a part of Source, then there's no separation.
Mm-hmm. Right. There is no separation. If some people get better just by following a plant-based diet, there have been miracles that happen. Can you explain how that works?
Oh, it's because they believe it will work.
Right. Okay.
Right. People get better all sorts of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes something called the spontaneous remission is just the deciding and the remembering that, oh, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
The deep, deep belief that they can do it.
Right.
I have to say that I feel so big right now.
Okay. Tell me more.
I feel enormous.
Mm-hmm.
Energetically enormous, like I can't be contained.
Very good.
It's really interesting.
Very good. So tell me, what when these people call you, what do they call you by? What is your name?
Oh, my name is Timothy.
Timothy? Okay. And so when they call you and you help them, you just put inspiration into their mind?
I can do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I can do it all any way that works for them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an energy being, a non-physical being, so I can. This is almost overwhelming.
Okay, well, can you make it a little less overwhelming for her?
Yes. I feel like this vessel maybe doesn't have the bandwidth for this.
Okay. So tell me what you mean by that.
Jasmine has never had an energy being channeled through her.
Mm-hmm. Is this beneficial for her, or would it?
It is. It's just a lot. It's a lot. So it might take a second to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a collective consciousness, not just one being. It's a group.
Where are you guys from?
Lyra.
Lyra. Mm-hmm. And how do you know Jasmine?
Oh, I've always known her.
And do you take care of her?
I do. We do.
Are you the one that's going to help her with her human design?
We can. She has to ask, though.
Oh, okay. Well, can I ask for her?
Yes.
Can you make her very successful with this?
I can. I believe that she is willing to do that. I think this is the thing that she's most inclined to do.
Do you need more time, or can I still talk with you?
No, you can still talk with me.
Well, do you help her with her husband's girlfriend, Jessica?
Yes.
Can you tell me what's going on with that?
This is a practice for Jasmine. This is something that she needs to work through. Not always being and pushing situations and involvement. This is something that Jasmine needs to, in a way, surrender to and allow the unfolding.
Okay.
It's challenging. It's a challenge for her.
It's a challenge.
But it's for her highest good to just allow the situation to unfold.
Why is it in her highest good?
Because she's not supposed to be pushing all the time. Pushing her agenda.
She's not supposed to be?
No. She has to realize that there is a separation between her children and herself.
Can you tell her more about that?
Her children have their own karmic paths.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own work to do. And for their highest good, she cannot always be pushing and pushing.
Okay.
She needs to go into a place of allowing.
So go into a place of allowing?
Yes.
But she feels like her husband's girlfriend, Jessica, is criticizing her daughter.
She is.
And how does that help?
Her daughter needs to understand her own power and be in her own space of allowing and standing up for herself.
Okay.
Her daughter has integration work to do.
She does.
She has a lot of it.
What does she need to do?
She needs to stand in herself.
Ah, okay.
And she needs to support herself. Jasmine can always support her as well from the outside.
Okay. Does Jasmine and Jessica, do they have a contract?
Yes.
Okay. Can I ask a few questions?
Yes.
What's the relationship between the ocean's moon and our bodies? What's the significance?
Well, we're all water.
Mm-hmm.
And the ocean is water. And the gravitational pull of the moon guides all of us in the cycles. And so we are, you are lunar beings.
We're lunar beings?
We are energetic lunar beings. We receive our energy from the sun, but our moods and our flow of life come from the moon. And so, especially if you're experiencing this earth plane as a woman and you're in your feminine, the moon is your guide.
So you said if you're in your feminine, what do you mean by that? If you're embracing the feminine energy? Is that
Well, if you're embracing the feminine energy, but also if you come to this earth plane as a woman, if you're having this experience in a woman's body, in the feminine, then your cycles are lunar cycles. And that's the flow of life that you should be in. There are times when we are more creative. There are times when we need rest. There are times when we are intuitive, and those are the flow. That is the flow of the moon and the ocean. I mean, the feminine is the ocean.
The feminine is the ocean?
Yes. We are vast and deep.
So this is all tied together? The ocean's moon and our bodies are they on some level just all one?
Absolutely.
Okay. Why are fractal equations found in nature? And what's the significance? Is that all tying together?
I don't know exactly, but from our perspective, it is a way to see the rhythms and the formulas, like that show that we're all connected.
Okay, just to show we're all connected?
Right.
So to help to remember that we're all actually one?
Exactly.
Okay.
That the leaves, the rivers, the vein of a leaf, and the veins of different rivers and tributaries and lakes, streams, like it all matches.
Right.
And it's the same with our eyes and the star systems.
Our eyes and the star systems?
Yes.
How are they connected?
It's the same sequence, the Fibonacci sequence.
The what sequence?
The Fibonacci sequence.
What is that?
It's a mathematic sequence that creates fractals.
Okay.
And it's available. It's in the shape of a shell, a cone shell. It's in the shape, if you looked deep into like our eyes, you would see that same spiral sequence. And the same sequence is found in succulent plants and galaxies. It's there. It's all there.
So the significance is to prove that we're all connected?
I believe so. And that source has created that for us to remind us that we come from stars.
Is to remind us we come from stars? Okay.
It's reassuring. It's grounding to see that sequence repeated.
Right.
In earth, in the sky,
Right.
in our bodies, our eyes.
Yes, thank you. Why do we weigh 21 grams less when we die? Does our soul weigh 21 grams?
Our soul does weigh 21 grams.
So it actually has a weight to it?
Yes. And it goes within seconds of the body becoming lifeless. That life force energy leaves.
Okay. Do trees dream?
Everything dreams.
Where do trees go when they dream? Where does their consciousness go?
Out into the ether. Into the plants have their own level of consciousness. And so they have their own space that they dream of one another. They dream of where they come from, source.
Very good.
And they connect and talk to one another in their dream states.
They do? They connect and talk to one another? Do they have fun in this reality?
It's different. It's not what we would consider fun, but they're joyous. And they enjoy their time here.
They do enjoy their time?
Yes.
What is the purpose behind a life as a tree or a plant?
To be a tree or a plant. They're so different from us. They don't think about things in terms of purpose. They innately know their purpose. And their purpose is to do what they do, to bear fruit, to procreate, to entice a bee or an animal to eat its fruit or drink its pollen, and to make more, to proliferate.
Has Jasmine ever been a tree?
No. Jasmine has spent her life as a human, almost exclusively.
Just because she likes it, doesn't she?
She does. She's very visceral, and she likes to learn.
She likes to learn. So I have another question. How did the dinosaurs really die?
Well, they became sick.
So they didn't die in an asteroid colliding with Earth?
They did die that way. But first they were becoming sick.
Oh, they were becoming sick first.
It wasn't working.
What wasn't working?
Their reign on Earth wasn't working anymore.
Why wasn't it working? What was going on?
It was just a very destructive time. The Earth was young and things were happening that the model was not good. They were too big. And they were destructive to Gaia. They were just too big, and they were compulsory and competitive and very, obviously prehistoric, you know, and they couldn't stay.
Who came up with the designs? Just Source, or did you have any part in it?
No, I didn't have any part of that. I don't come up with designs. I'm just here to guide. But source, I mean, everything comes from source, and then there's teams of things and people and entities, non-physical beings that help and organize things. And there are some that are architects and some that are into biology, and that was just a plan that didn't work. So over the course of time, it just had to phase out.
And then, is it true that the people were dying before the extraterrestrial races came and bred with them?
People are people. That there are hybrid people that have bred with ETs to create different DNA strands. But in pockets on Earth, over the course of millennia, there were experiments until we have the modern, like what we know to be human beings. But I think that there are different timelines, that I'm not privy to all of the timelines. I don't have access to all of those timelines. I have access to my assignments.
But not all the timelines.
But not all of the timelines.
So how does Jasmine's body look right now as you're with her?
Currently? Can you explain that?
Can you... So how am I talking with you?
Oh, I'm just beaming in. I'm just a channel. Like, if you can imagine, this is why it feels so big, because Jasmine is a vessel right now. I know no one's ever spoken through her in this specific way, and it's a lot for her. But imagine an energy river that's light and prismatic and flowing like fast, and there are different energies you can pick up on. There are different not people, but energies are traveling at different speeds, and the flow is different, and all of these flows are together in one river, and it's like the river of eternity. It's the river of everything. And then I'm just one stream of consciousness coming through. And so it's making Jasmine do things right now that wiggle her toes, and she's sweating and like uncomfortable.
Okay, so I don't want her to be uncomfortable. That's the most important. So how can she get more comfortable?
I don't know. It's not bad. It's just a lot.
Okay.
And it's not very articulate, because this isn't our normal way that we communicate with her. We come through generally in meditation for her, and we come through while she's writing in stream of consciousness, but never have we come through verbally
I'm sure
and physically like this.
Well, I'm sure there must be stuff you would like to tell her. Do you want to tell her that right now?
Just that we're happy that she's called on us.
Wonderful.
We've been here for so long, and she doesn't ask.
So she should definitely ask more.
Yes, because she thinks that she doesn't want to be a burden to us.
But you like it when she asks.
We like it. That's why we're here. We're bored. When there's nothing to do, we're so bored. And we're just waiting and waiting. She's an open vessel. She has an opportunity to just be channeling all the time. And I think on some level she's afraid.
What is she afraid of?
she's afraid of what people will think. She's afraid that she will be overtaken, which we, at this point understand, since she's feeling mildly uncomfortable right now. Or that information will come through that she doesn't really know what to do with.
Well, she's protected, isn't she?
Oh, always. We're so here for her, and that's it. And she does something before she meditates where she says, only for my highest good. No one can come in that is not for her highest good, and she's tuned to a vibrational frequency most of the time that does not deal with the lower astral planes. So she doesn't really have much to be worried about, except for that she is scared of full expansion.
She is.
She has resistance to being fully expanded and fully conscious.
Well, is she ready for that yet?
I think she is, but I think that it's not our place to say. That she has to come to these conclusions on her own. And we don't want to blow out her energetic system. That is not our goal. Our goal is to give her what she needs and to be here for her when she is ready.
Well, as you're channeled through her, can you make her body a certain way? Like, can you get rid of any sickness that she has? Can you do that?
We can get rid of sickness, but we can't open her channels up fully until she is in a space to do that.
Right.
Right. So if she's willing to have her channels open completely 100%, then she needs to be doing her daily work, meditating, eating clean, working out, being available, and being open.
Well, if she agrees with opening her channels completely, can you do that right now? If she says it's okay?
We cannot do it right now. Because she says it and then she doesn't, she's not fully aligned. We can get her closer to alignment.
Can you align her right now?
Immediate realignment is not what she is doing. It's not. Last time she was with you, she said she wanted immediate alignment, and then she suffered.
Oh, okay.
She suffered because she wasn't physically there. She wasn't aligned. And she had horrible headaches as her third eye was trying to open. And she was so resistant. So I think that we can help to clear resistance and help to open up her meridia and her chakras.
Wow.
With that immediate is maybe almost dangerous for her.
Okay, very good. Thank you for telling me that. So if she continues her diet and exercise and meditating, she'll be closer to alignment in a gradual way that is right for her.
Right. We think that being gradual. And not that that means a certain length of time, years or months or, forever, but just taking it day by day and doing the work to get there gradually so that her earth life is not upheaved.
Very.
She has a lot of work here to do. Her dharma is her family, and her family cannot function if she's suddenly floating on cloud 9 all the time and not here in her purpose.
Right. And what exactly is her purpose?
Well, her ultimate purpose is her family. And she's just learning that. She's been resisting, but she's here to build awareness around her daughters and have relationships to create new karma.
To create new karma?
Yes. To create new stories. Stories of joy, stories of love, stories of just relationship building, a new legacy.
So can you create karma by being kind, so that you have the next lifetime or next reincarnation, you receive this kindness?
It's not that you receive more kindness from being kind, although you do, especially here in the earth plane, but creating a new legacy, and I guess it's more of a deconditioning than it is creating new karma. It's creating a new story, and then that story of love and joy come to fruition, and seeing one another for who we really are. In the next lifetime, you will have less work to do.
So is the point to have less work to do? Because I know some people choose really difficult lifetimes.
They do. That's for their expansion. They need that work. They need that to see perspective and to understand different things.
So when a child comes into a life where it's just going to suffer the whole lifetime and the parents are going to suffer, what is the reason for that?
Expansion.
That's
their contract. They've already decided that in the before life.
And so what do you get when you expand? I mean, is there a prize?
Well, the prize is the knowing and the perspective.
The perspective is the prize?
The perspective is always the prize. The more perspective one can have, the greater your chances for knowing yourself. And knowing yourself means knowing another, and knowing God.
And knowing God is the ultimate, that's what you really are striving, to know God?
To know God is to know you, to know yourself. And that is it. When you realize that you are God, and that every perspective here is God, and there is no right and there is no wrong, there is only perspective and expansion.
So that's another question I had, is there really any truth to anything, or is it all individualized?
It's all individualized. The only truth is your current truth. And the number one truth is that we are all source.
So some people are worried about like the oceans, and in some people's reality, the fish are being overfished, and is that true for everyone?
Well, it is true for your perspective is your truth. So for the people who don't think the fish are being overfished or that the oceans are being poisoned, that is their truth. That is their perspective. And on some level, that is just what it is. That's what they're here to experience right now.
So they're here to experience it. So, I mean, if I don't want that to be my truth, do I just say that's not my truth? Or do I have to feel it?
Well, if it is your truth, then it is your truth. There is no changing your truth.
So it's already set.
Right. If your perspective is that the oceans are being polluted and there's something that you need to do about that, then that is your truth.
That's your truth, it's your perspective. Okay. Well, some people are wondering if the grouper are going to be overfished in our lifetime.
They'll have that experience. When they do, they'll know one way or another.
So it's not everybody's experience.
Right. It's not fixed, and there are different timelines, and there are different things happening. And your perspective and your truth, maybe the fish will be overfished and they'll all be extinct and gone.
But you can change your timeline?
Well, you can. I mean, everyone can be simultaneously on different timelines. It's very non-linear.
So it's very non-linear. So there's some people on different Earths?
Right.
So, like, I have friends that have a much different reality than I do. Are they on a different Earth or a different dimension, or are they in my dimension?
They're in your dimension, but they are not in your timeline, your current timeline. It's parallel.
Okay. So they would see more suffering, and I wouldn't?
Well, depending on if that's the perspective you chose.
Did I choose this perspective, or do we choose that perspective before we incarnate?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So whatever perspective we chose before we incarnate, like the group, or there's nothing I can do now.
Right.
Okay, I get that. Okay, so that's why we kind of co-create
Exactly.
that timeline. So what about black holes and wormholes? Can you go through one of those?
I think I went through one to get here. It's just energy traveling.
It's just energy traveling. Is that what they are? Black holes and wormholes? So you can you go in and out of dimensions through these?
Yes, they're portals.
Is there a wreck right near here called the Papa Joe wreck?
Papa Joe wreck? I don't know that.
Okay, that's fine. Do you have any idea who used to live here, what they used to do here, the Indians?
In here, in this house, in this town?
Area.
Well, this area in the past was very little land. Very little land. Mostly water and tributaries and mangroves and marshes.
How long ago was this?
Well, within a few hundred years. So there weren't very many people. Wasn't really a place that was inhabitable in the way that we think of it being inhabitable now.
Well, many people talk about, not many people, but some people talk about mud floods coming from the west. So this would only be certain people's perspective?
Yes.
And some people would not have that, do not have that perspective, would live a parallel life not experiencing these mud floods. Is that right?
Yes.
So if you were on that perspective or that timeline, do you see mud floods coming?
Well, I'm not on that perspective.
Oh, okay.
And so I do not see that. And I do not believe Jasmine is on that perspective.
Okay.
Some people's perspective in this lifetime, in this time on Earth, is that we are in a doomsday situation. But that is not to be, per se. That is not written in stone.
So it could change.
It could change. Could change.
What about Jasmine's perspective? Is there like a doomsday?
No, Jasmine does not have a perspective that we are living in the worst of times. In fact, she is hopeful that this is the best time that we've lived in.
I agree with that. Am I on that perspective too?
You are. That we are making more changes and moving towards the light at a warp speed. And that some systems have to break down. And that some people on the perspective of doomsday are feeling very challenged and very threatened. And they are creating these monstrous ideas that everything shall end, but just those constructs will end. And there will be upheaval and there will be suffering.
Right.
But for growth, there has to be.
Why does there have to be suffering for growth?
Because when everybody's just floating along, they don't make changes. So there has to be some form. If you think about a seed in the ground, it has to explode through the earth to grow.
Yes.
If you think about a butterfly, it had to be a caterpillar and completely dissolve who it was to spring out of a cocoon. And even after it becomes a butterfly, it has to lay there exhausted and wet and dry its wings and do so much work to be able to fly
Yes.
before it can. There's work involved in expansion.
Yes.
There's work involved in becoming who you really are.
There's always work involved.
Well, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
No, not me. I'm not here. I've never been embodied.
You've never been embodied?
No.
All you do is help people?
I've always been a non-physical energy being.
Have you known Jasmine forever?
For eons.
Do you guys work together when she's in the non-physical?
That's funny because she tries not to ever be in the non-physical.
Yeah, she really doesn't want to be.
No,
she said it was boring.
It is for her.
But for you, it's not. I guess.
No, and I've never known it different. I've never had the option really to be a physical being. That's not why my energy is here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a direct tributary of Source, so I just travel in the river of consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Do you see other souls in there? Like, can you communicate with Dolores Cannon?
Dolores is here.
Can I ask her questions?
You can.
Can I help you write a book?
Do you want to help me write a book?
Yes.
Will that book be in your highest good?
I don't know.
Well, you should think about that. That is your choice.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel as though writing a book with me would be your highest calling, then you should do that.
Well, I want to expand the hypnosis.
My work?
Yes.
How do you think you could best do that?
I don't know. It works so well.
Well, you would need to channel me to do that.
How do I channel you?
You just have to ask. You have your own guides.
Mm-hmm.
You have your own knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't necessarily need me to channel, but you could do it if you wanted to.
Okay.
If that was what you wanted.
I would love to write a book.
Well, then you should start typing.
Well, can you give me some information that I don't know already? Because I feel like I know everything.
You feel like you know everything.
Yeah.
Everything about what? Hypnosis?
No, about the world almost. I want to know something totally new that you would want to write about.
Well, I've already written about everything I wanted to write about.
I know, but isn't there more from that perspective that you didn't know about when you were incarnated?
Well, there is more, but the thing is, I've done my work.
Yes.
That is why I left the earth plane.
Mm-hmm.
So, it is time for you to uncover what it is that you want to write about.
Yes.
And if you start asking questions, I can help you.
Okay. Thanks.
And you don't need Jasmine to do that.
Okay. How do you answer my questions?
You just start asking them. Write them down, type them up, think about them in meditation, and ask me to come in. Open yourself up as a vessel,
Okay.
a clear vessel for my energy to come in. And meanwhile, you can do this with any energy that you're seeking.
Okay.
It is available to you.
Okay.
Jasmine does this all the time.
Okay. Do you ever help Jasmine?
You know, she's never asked for me.
Mm-hmm.
The last person Jasmine channeled was Lilith.
Lilith?
She also was visited by Anubis without asking.
Oh, who's that?
Anubis. Anubis is the god of the underworld.
Okay. Why did that entity visit her?
Because she was needing to see him. She never sees visions. She only ever has feelings that come upon her and words that come in through her fingers. And so she was needing proof that she is connected, visual proof.
So she saw it with her eyes?
She saw it with her third eye. Anubis's big jackal head.
Did it frighten her?
It didn't. It was overpowering, though. It was very similar to the experience she's having now, where she feels like it's a lot of energy.
Is she okay right now?
Oh, she's okay. She can handle this.
Can I ask you to check her body to see if there's any negative entity attachments?
Sure. No.
Oh, very good.
No, she's good.
What was that sleep paralysis from?
Her daughter has night terrors.
Mm-hmm.
And she was having energy. Her daughter, Vivian, was experiencing an entity.
She was.
She was, and she does regularly.
Can you protect her daughter?
Me, Timothy?
Yes, you, Timothy.
I can. It's complicated, though. She has her own guides.
Her daughter, Vivian, has her own guides?
Yes. She has her own guides. Jasmine should talk to her about that.
Okay, so tell Vivian to ask for help to protect her.
Right.
Can they protect her from any entities?
They can. She's not being harmed.
Okay.
She's just an open vessel. And so there's, to some extent, she needs shields up.
Does she have any entities attached to her right now that you can get rid of right now?
No, they just come through her in her dreams and at night. She spends time in the lower astral plane. And that happened to Jasmine when she was young, too. Nightmares, night terrors, sleepwalking, things like that. Those are all energies that are visiting her through the lower astral planes.
What exactly is the purpose for that?
It's just... there is no purpose. She's just open and available. And so there's a lot happening in the nighttime when she's with them. When she's just open to them.
She's open to them.
It takes training and practice to not be.
How does her body look as far as health? Can you go through her body, Timothy, and fix anything that needs to be healed?
Whose body?
Jasmine's.
Yes, she is fairly healthy.
That's good.
She's good. She's good. Her nose is clear today. It wasn't clear yesterday. I think she had some truth that she needed to work out.
Tell me more about that.
She's been struggling with relationships.
Oh, with Jessica?
Yes.
So now that the truth came out, will she be better?
She should be. She should be, as long as she doesn't wallow around in her thoughts about things that she thinks should be away. She can get tangled up in that.
So she needs to watch her thoughts?
Watch her thoughts getting away from her.
Okay.
And she doesn't always have to have loving thoughts. She can just have neutral thoughts. She can neutralize her emotions.
Neutralize. Does she know how to do this?
She does.
Oh, okay. So just neutralize her emotions, her thoughts.
Yes. Can I say something to you?
Of course.
This is what's coming through. That you should trust your own intuition. That you, Sarah, should know that one thing is that you don't know everything.
Yeah, I know.
And that you don't know what you don't know.
That's true.
So ask. Ask for your own higher self to come through and guide you. And ask for your own personal guides to come up and come to you, and they will help you.
Thank you.
They will show up for you always, and especially creatively.
Oh, thank you.
And they will guide you in your book. And your work is good.
My work is good.
The work that you're bringing to the world is needed work.
Yes.
Overwhelmingly so. I'm getting an overwhelming feeling that what you're doing, you're on the right track.
Thank you. Well, when I have people, like you said, when I aligned Jasmine to the healed version of herself, that didn't help her. Should I not do that in my sessions?
No, you should always do that. You should always do that. Everyone is on their own path. And so the work that Jasmine needs to do is really big work. And she just wasn't quite there yet. But so much of what you aligned her with is there.
So it's okay to do that?
It is okay to do that.
Okay.
Because there's a meeting, but there's an integration process that has to happen afterwards, after the alignment.
Okay.
And so I think incorporate an integration period.
Yes.
Yes.
I was thinking.
Yes, that's important.
So do like 2 sessions.
Maybe a follow-up,
Yeah.
and maybe just have the client know that you will be integrating for a certain amount of time, and you can ask maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm getting like energetically right now, like physically, I'm feeling that so strongly about that.
Okay.
That the integration process is part of your alignment.
It's important, and I just run out of time because I don't have that much time now, but next year it'll be easier.
Yes. Right. We have infinite time.
Yes.
Time is nothing. I mean, time is just a social construct. Humans made up time. So there's more time for you to do all of the things that you need to do.
So I have infinite time. Does Jasmine have infinite time?
Yes.
So she can just figure out the human design and just take her time with that?
She can do it how she wants to. I don't think that she needs any more time. I think we finally found the thing is clicked, and it's going to go fast for her.
Awesome.
And this is something that she should be doing.
What about the house? Is she manifesting the house?
The house is in the horizon. It's coming.
Does she need to do this human design first?
She does. This is going to lead her to that. Her youngest daughter is helping her to manifest
Really?
the house.
Wonderful.
And it's all lining up. And her relationships with the people, all her mother, Jessica, her ex-husband, her boyfriend, are all becoming less enmeshed and more, there's more equanimity and evenness. And so those types of things and that work is going to take a back seat right now. And Jasmine is going to work on her human design and her manifestation processes. And that is what we're going to do for the beginning of 2019. And it will seem like a lifetime has passed so quickly.
Wonderful. So is it possible for you, Timothy, to check her family members and see if their health is okay? Is it possible for you to heal them?
It is. It can. Her oldest daughter is sadly, her sickness has more to do with her emotions than it does with her physicality. And she needs nurturing right now, and she needs bolstering.
She needs nurturing?
She does.
And bolstering?
Bolstering.
What's the best way for her to get that, or for Jasmine to help her?
Jasmine can only do what she's doing. The bolstering she needs comes from somewhere else. And it's not Jasmine's work to do.
Okay.
So she has to watch And that is going to be a challenge.
But she probably chose that challenge, correct?
She did. Jasmine didn't choose that challenge.
No, I know.
Her daughter did. Her daughter chose this.
So something she needs.
Yes, it's a karmic relationship between her father and herself.
So it's a karmic relationship. So this is from a past life?
It is.
Oh. What happened in that lifetime?
Georgia, Jasmine's daughter, has always been in relationship with her father. Mm-hmm. And they have had numerous lifetimes together, and this one is about him seeing her for who she is. And he is not willing.
He's not willing to see her for who she is?
Not right now. He wants her to be different.
Oh. But he's not seeing who she really is.
No.
And so that's affecting her?
It is. It's making her feel diminished.
Mm-hmm. But this is her choice to go through this.
Yes. And there has to be some allowance and no interference from Jasmine in that regard.
I was just thinking that.
It's hard. It's a challenge and sad. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be okay.
It is going to be okay.
Because Georgia's constitution is strong, and she will prevail. And she will see herself and know that she does not need someone else to see her as whole, to be whole.
This is just part of her path that she has to go through.
It's part of her initiation.
What about the rest of Jasmine's family?
They are strong. They have what they need.
But if they ever need anything, can you help them?
I can help them. And they have their own guides as well. Mm-hmm. They're getting to an age where Jasmine will tell them to ask.
Oh, very good. Well, what about soul contracts? How do we find these souls?
They're collective, almost pools in the river. If you can imagine tributaries, and then oversouls, and then people who are similar, or souls that are similar and need to have similar expansion will be in this large collective pool or lake together. And they will co-create and conspire and have lifetimes together. And sometimes we're all in community, and sometimes we can step out of community. And you know how you and Jasmine are very similar, but have completely different familial pools. But the overarching soul can be in the same pool, in the same family.
Okay, thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay.
What about this big event, light wave event, that's waking up human beings? That's only in certain perspectives, correct?
It is. Although I think that there's an overall awakening happening. So many people are waking up, and it's instantaneous for some. And for some, it's just a slow perspective change. It's like a hand of a clock, just clicking along 1 second at a time. You're waking up, you're waking up, you're waking up. And as an eventuality over the course of time, more and more and more people are having the slow progression of wake up. I don't know about the perspective of the instantaneous light wave wake up. I don't have any knowledge of that. I think that might be a different, higher ET perspective than I am
Oh, okay.
privy to.
But it is possible?
Absolutely. I mean, the Syrians and Arcturians, they have these really, Andromedans, they have these very, very fast-moving, instantaneous things happening where they can be anywhere at any moment. So one drop of that perspective could certainly wake up.
Oh, it could be like a drop of their perspective.
Right.
Is it possible to talk to an Arcturian?
I don't think at this time it would be a good idea. They are the light waves ahead of where I am, and this energy alone is a lot
I see. Thank
to
you.
handle this way.
Thank you. How do people get over lifetimes when they were burned at the stake? What I mean is, light workers in this incarnation oftentimes have been burnt at the stake or shunned.
Persecuted.
Yeah.
Persecuted. Well, that is their work, right? That is the work that they're here to do.
Yes.
You, Jasmine, so many people that are in this world right now doing the work, showing up. And it is through deconditioning, and it's through remembering who we are, who you are, that this can change. It's not easy work.
It's not easy, especially if you've been killed for your beliefs before.
So many have.
Has Jasmine?
Several times.
Several times. Can you give us at least one time?
Well, she has already remembered one lifetime where she was just left in the woods. This was during her first regression with you, Sarah.
Oh, okay.
At the wellness center. And she remembered being left in the woods,
Oh, okay.
strapped to a wooden slab, and left to die for her beliefs, for her witchery, and cursed as being a heretic because she is not a believer in the Judeo-Christian system.
What was the purpose behind that lifetime?
Well, to shine her light and to understand a different perspective, and the perspective that you can be killed for your beliefs, and to learn that that's not right, that's not the correct path.
It's not.
No, and now she knows when she sees people who have different beliefs than she has, that those beliefs should be tolerated, that they should be accepted and open, loving.
So she learned lessons from that lifetime.
Right? To see everybody as part of Source. To see us all as waves on the ocean.
Why do some people choose really difficult religions like Jehovah's Witness religion? Where you...
Well, they choose religions like that for understanding, to make sense.
Yeah.
And the dogma that's involved in it is really just a way for them to exert control over themselves and other people, to delineate what is right and what is wrong, what is correct and what is incorrect, and to have order.
Is there any part of that religion that would be, say, called truth?
Well, everyone has their own truth and their own perspective, and the part of it that is filled with love and understanding is the truth. But the part of it that is filled with disdain or chastising to other religions, the part of it that's full of elitism, just to say that we are the chosen and you are not, and if you do not come with us, then you will be damned, that part is not God's way or the way of Source.
So even if could you have that perspective that it was the way? So if they had the perspective that they were chosen by God, could that be truth?
It is truth, because we are all chosen by God.
Right, okay.
So they are not out of alignment in that way, because that is their belief. The thing that is out of alignment is that others are other.
Is it detrimental for people to be in a religion that's out of alignment?
Is it detrimental how?
Is it harmful to them to be in a religion that's out of alignment with who they really are?
Well, that's complicated, because if they believe that that religion makes them who they really are, then that is their truth and their perspective.
Right.
Therefore, that is who they really are.
Right.
If they are forcing people to have guilt and shame around not being part of that perspective, then it is detrimental to the people they are forcing. Do you see what I mean?
I see what you mean.
And then those people are suffering because they are being forced into something that is not their truth.
I see what.
They are being forced to accept a truth that is not their own.
Okay.
But that, if that is what you truly believe, then that is your truth.
And that is your truth.
And that is your path, and that is your perspective, and that will get you to your heaven, your golden gate. I don't know who else will be there with you, but you will be there.
Oh, okay. Can you see my past lives from your perspective?
I don't know.
Can you see if I was burned at the stake?
Oh, you definitely suffered several lifetimes of being called a heretic, a blasphemer, a witch. That's in your DNA and your energetic code.
Yeah.
To be a truth teller and a way setter, trailblazer.
Yes. Are there any other questions that Jasmine might want to know that you could tell her now that I forgot to ask?
She's asking if she's on the right path and if you are on the right path. And the answer to both of those is a resounding yes. You are on the right path, and to be brave and to be courageous. And truthfully, to not worry about the paths of others. It is not your job or Jasmine's job to proselytize. It is not your job to have people wake up. Your job is to be awake and to shine the light. And when you shine the light, people will see the light. And they will come towards it. But you don't have to push, and you don't have to be upset that they're not doing it. All in due time.
All in due time. Thank you. Anything else you would like to tell her?
Love, love, love.
Love,
peace.
love, love. Thank you so much. Thank you, Timothy.
You're welcome. It felt insane. I mean, it felt like I don't really know what's happening. Like, it's so strong. Like, when I was, the very beginning, when I was traveling through, like, space and time. That's how it felt.
Wow.
And the whole time. So it was like this weird push-pull where I didn't want to, like I wanted it to stay because I want to do it. But then I'm also, like, was trying to, like, okay, I want it to be more mellow. But then I'm like, well, if it's more mellow, am I going to not get the...
Right.
Yeah. So it was weird because I could feel my consciousness, like, take a back seat to it. Like, I was there but not there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Did it feel almost like you were being pushed down? Like, did it feel like your body?
Yeah,
Or did
like...
it feel like you were moved out of the way?
I was moved out of the way. Or not all the way.
Wiggling the
Yeah,
toes?
like, I was like... I was wiggling because I'm like, oh, this energy, it, like, needs to go somewhere. Like, it felt like it was going to blow me out. Like, I didn't...
Wow.
It was so strong, like from here, like all the way down, and like through, even still now, like feel my hand.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I could feel it from
Yeah,
right.
like it's, like I feel like, and this is like nothing.
Okay, does it feel good?
I don't know, it felt weird. It felt like I've never done that before. It's not, it doesn't feel good. but
Okay,
it doesn't feel
good.
But it doesn't feel bad. It feels overwhelming. Like my feet are so sweaty and like shaky.
Oh my god.
Like I'm like shaking.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel good.
Right. It
It's
feels
just like a lot of energy.
It feels like the most energy I've ever felt in my life. And that like when we were talking about going to see like ETs, and I'm like, no way, like that is not happening.
Yeah. Like you're not gonna have an ET go in here.
No, like pump the brakes on like Arcturians, because that's not happening. Like, I totally like blow my mind right now.
Oh my god.
Yeah.